Today's lesson is quantum computers, the next step in technological evolution. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're going to be talking about computers. Specifically, we're going to be talking about quantum computers. And we're asking the question, are they the next step in technological evolution? They probably are, but we're going to talk about them more today.
That's right. Quantum computing is sort of, well, it's kind of like having unlimited space travel. If we could do that with machines, imagine what we could do. We could explore the galaxies and the stars very quickly. Quantum computers are almost a similar type of leap forward in computer technology. If you think you have a very fast computer these days, if you get a quantum computer, it would expand that computer's operating capacity by thousands and thousands of times. So it would be a huge, huge leap in computing power and, of course, the things that computers would be able to do for us. It's almost like magic, but it's not. It's science that could be a reality in a very short time. So let's check out the first part of our article and find out more about the future of computing with quantum computers. Quantum computers, the next step in technological evolution? Computers can perform all sorts of tasks for us, from data processing and video editing to harnessing artificial intelligence for intuitive decision-making and problem-solving. However, this is only scratching the surface of what computer technology could potentially achieve, and scientists have already been developing a possible next step, quantum computers.
大家好，标题中介绍形容词 technological， 它的意思是技术的或是科技的。例如 This new electric car is outfitted with many advanced technological features. 这款新电动车配有许多先进的科技功能。或者 Our teacher wants us to make a list of the top 10 technological advances of the past 50 years. 我们老师要我们列出过去50年来10大技术的进步。
It says computers can perform all sorts of tasks for us, from data processing and video editing to harnessing artificial intelligence for intuitive decision-making and problem-solving. Those are just a few of the tasks or jobs that computers can do for us. They do all sorts of things. We, of course, also have them in our phones, in our cars. We play games using them, computer games and things like that. So they do many jobs. They do all sorts of tasks. They do a huge variety of things for humans. And here are some examples. Data processing, when you're crunching huge numbers. If you're working for a big company or doing a lot of things with surveys. Social media, of course, is processing the data of how users interact with their platforms and stuff like that. Video editing, that's something that takes a lot of time. When you're editing video, polishing the video, rendering the video is the term that they often use. It can take many hours to do a little bit of video editing work. And also harnessing artificial intelligence for intuitive decision-making and problem-solving. This is a bit more modern, of course. We're using AI, artificial intelligence. We're harnessing that. When you're harnessing something, it's kind of like using it. You're taking something that might exist on its own and has many other roles or many other things that it can do, and you're sort of linking it, you're joining it, you're using it for a certain specific purpose. In this case, we're harnessing AI for intuitive decision-making, making decisions more like humans would do it, based on feelings, based on trends, based on past experiences. That's how we often make our decisions. You could look up things and line it up and be very logical about everything, or you can just go with your feeling. That would be your intuition. So an intuitive decision is based more on your wisdom, your knowledge, rather than facts and figures that you've looked up at that time. So intuitive decision-making and problem-solving, thinking more like a human, which of course is a huge goal for researchers with AI.
Right, so this tells us what computers can do. They can perform data processing, you can do video editing with them, and you can use or harness artificial intelligence if you're going to have some intuitive decision-making and if you need to have some problem-solving. So that's what computers can do, but of course...
That's what they can do now as well, right?
Right,
we can do all that now.
But of course, we know that sometimes it takes forever for computers to do those things.
That's true, and they're very expensive.
Indeed, you have to spend more and more money to get a faster and faster computer. with more and more storage and stuff like that.
And power and the heat they produce as they get more powerful, that is an issue.
And they use a lot of electricity as well. However, this is only scratching the surface of what computer technology could potentially achieve, and scientists have already been developing a possible next step. Quantum computers. So this is just scratching the surface. When you say something is scratching the surface, you're just talking about something, but you're only talking about tiny little details of that thing. The subject itself is very big, very broad, and of course, you're not talking about everything because there's just so much more to talk about.
Absolutely. If you spent a month-long trip traveling around Europe and you say, oh, I saw some museums and ate some good food and took some nice pictures, you're probably just scratching the surface of your full experience. You're not giving us all the details, just a very basic overview. Let's look at the next part of the article and find out more about quantum computers and where they'll be taking us in the near future. Various devices that we use every day, like laptops and phones, already contain sophisticated computers. These computers store information in the form of bits, with each bit representing either a 1 or a 0. Although today's computers can read these bits extremely quickly, they can process them only one at a time.
第二部分看到名词 device 表示装置、仪器或是设备。例如 The smartphone is a handy device for staying connected with friends. 智慧型手机是一个方便的装置，让你可以与朋友保持联系。或是Devices like cell phones and tablets are not allowed in Mr. Dunn's classroom. 丹老师的课堂上不允许使用手机和平板等装置。再来看到形容词 sophisticated， 它的意思是精密复杂的，也可以是人精明老练的、精于世故的。例如 The new software comes with sophisticated features designed for professional users. 新软体配备有专为专业使用者设计的精密功能。也可以说 Even though the computer system had a sophisticated firewall, the hackers still managed to hack it. 虽然该电脑系统有精密的防火墙，骇客还是成功骇进去了。
Okay, let's break down the second part of our lesson for today. It says various devices that we use every day, like laptops and phones, already contain sophisticated computers. Indeed, the device you're holding in your hand right now is very sophisticated. It has a computer. In fact, the computer in your smartphone is probably more sophisticated than the computers they used to land on the moon back in 1969.
Much more sophisticated.
Much more sophisticated. So again, a smartphone or a laptop computer, those are devices, just things that help us perform various tasks. And we use them every day, and we did mention laptops and phones and things like that. And indeed, they have very sophisticated computers. If something's sophisticated, it has a lot of details. It is very complex, and it's been developed over a long period of time through lots of research and experimentation.
That's right. And as sort of a basic description of how computers today work, these computers, the ones that we have, store information in the form of bits, with each bit representing either a 1 or a 0. This is the binary language that you might have learned in math class. Everything is represented as either 1 on or 0 off, and that is how a computer does all of its calculations. Of course, it can do millions of those calculations, or maybe even billions per second. So that's really good compared to, as Roger gave the example, compared to computers used in the space program in the 1960s, or even those building-sized computers they had during World War II that they used to help build the atomic bomb. Of course, those were doing a few thousand processors or even tens or hundreds in a second. Now we can do millions or even billions in a second. So this is, of course, a huge jump. Although today's computers can read these bits extremely quickly, they can process them only one at a time. So we've increased the rate at which they process them, but not sort of the method through which they process them. We're still kind of doing one at a time. And if we can do them very quickly. That's a big help, but we're still limited to how the whole system works. No matter how fast we can get it, it is still kind of inefficient. One at a time, meaning only one per effort or only one per calculation. They can't kind of bundle a bunch of math problems together, bundle a bunch of numbers together, and do them all together at the same time. No, it's still one at a time. Imagine cars driving through a tunnel. No matter how fast the cars are going, they're still going one at a time. Imagine if you could stack those cars on top of each other and have 10 of them going through at the same time. Imagine how much faster people could get home.
Indeed. Sometimes, of course, if you have a political discussion on TV or something, everybody wants to state their opinions, but you can't understand everybody because they're talking over each other. So the moderator might say, hey, please, one at a time, okay? Let's take turns. You talk first, and this person talks second, so that we can actually hear each other. And again, that's a problem with modern computers. They can only do these things one at a time. Yeah, maybe we can stack some of these tasks together with quantum computing. Okay, let's move on now to the third and final part of our lesson for today. We will listen first.
In contrast, quantum computers can process multiple pieces of information at the same time by using something called qubits. These qubits can not only store information like regular bits, but can also link information together in numerous ways. Theoretically, a quantum computer utilizing just a few hundred qubits connected together could store and analyze vast amounts of data. Additionally, a quantum computer could examine all of the possible data simultaneously when searching for a solution to a problem. This capability could allow quantum computers to solve certain problems much faster than current computers.
第三部分介绍形容词 multiple 表示多个的或是多种的。我们可以说 The website allows users to upload multiple photos at once. 这个网站允许使用者一次上传多张照片。又或者说 Stella made multiple copies of the file. Stella 把这个文件影印了好几份。接着看到动词 utilize， 它的意思是使用、运用或是利用。例如Effective leaders know how to utilize the strengths of each team member. 有效率的领导者知道怎么利用每个团队成员的强项。又或者说 The upcoming movie will utilize the most cutting-edge technology. 那部即将上映的电影将会使用最先进的科技。继续介绍动词 analyze， 指的是分析、分解或是解析。举例来说 We use the computer to analyze the data.我们用电脑分析了资料。再来看到副词 simultaneously， 表示同时的。例如 All the dancers spun around simultaneously on stage. 所有的舞者在舞台上同时旋转。也可以说 Three different alarm clocks in the room started ringing simultaneously. 房间里有3个不同的闹钟同时响起。
All right, we are back with more about quantum computing. We've learned about how sort of older computers, the computers we have now and the ones that have been developed for the past 70 or 80 years, how they work using bits, ones and zeros, and doing calculations one at a time. Let's look at what quantum computers could do for us. It says in contrast to the older style, the style of computer that we have now, in contrast, quantum computers can process multiple pieces of information at the same time by using something called qubits. All right, remember that term. It will probably be quite important in the future. So here, instead of doing one calculation, one mathematical problem at a time, we're doing multiple pieces of information or multiple calculations. Multiple meaning many, more than one. Okay, if there are multiple reasons why you might be late for work, it wasn't just one thing. I missed my bus. It was I woke up late and then I dropped my phone in the toilet pilot, and then I missed my bus, and then the MRT was broken down. So there's many different reasons why you were delayed in getting to work. There are multiple reasons. So here we're doing multiple pieces of information, or processing, I should say, multiple pieces of information at the same time using qubits. Now, we saw bits before. Remember, bits were either a 1 or a 0, and that is how old-style computers work. Qubits are the more advanced form of old bits. What are exactly qubits?
Well, they can not only store information like regular bits, but can also link information together in numerous ways. Okay, so they just join everything together so they can work together and not separately, not one at a time. Theoretically, a quantum computer utilizing just a few hundred qubits connected together could store and analyze vast amounts of data.
Very interesting. So how would this work? Well, we can only sort of guess at it or look at the science as it's written down. We don't actually have computers like this, but as it says, theoretically, a quantum computer utilizing just a few hundred qubits connected together could store and analyze vast amounts of data, much more than the most powerful computers today, using, I repeat, a few hundred qubits. Of course, this is all theoretical. This all works on paper. Scientists can explain to you why it would work like this or why it should work like this, but no one has actually done it. If something is theory, it's an idea. If it's practical, then we can actually do it. So it won't be a practical reality until someone builds a computer like this, people at IBM or a big university or something like that, maybe the government. But right now, theoretically, if we look at the science, if it's explained to us, if we do all the math on paper, then this should work out this way. So a quantum computer utilizing or using just a few hundred qubits connected together could store huge or vast amounts of data. If you utilize something, yeah, you're basically using something for a purpose or to achieve a goal. You might utilize different forms of transportation to get to work. Oh, I walk, I ride a bike, I drive a scooter, I take a bus, I drive my car. I utilize a car, I utilize the MRT to get to work. I use it to do something. And so we're utilizing just a few hundred qubits, and this could store, this could keep and hold like we do in a hard drive, and also analyze or process vast amounts of data. To analyze something is to examine something, to look at it carefully, to understand it, and to get other results or other information out of it. Scientists will collect a lot of data or a lot of information, and then later on they will analyze it. They'll sort of crunch the numbers, they'll look at it from different ways, they'll think of it in different ways, they'll try to come up with as much information, research, and intelligent new ideas from the data that they have. That is absolutely incredible. If you think about it, 1 gigabyte is a billion bytes, so that would be 8 billion bits. So we're doing that, but here we're using just a few hundred qubits. We're not using billions of bytes. We're using a few hundred qubits to do similar or much more powerful processing.
I have confidence in the local technological industry here in Taiwan to produce such qubits, but we'll have to wait and see what happens in the future. And additionally, or in addition to what we've just said also, a quantum computer could examine all of the possible data simultaneously when searching for a solution to a problem. So it doesn't need to look at all this information separately. It could look at it all simultaneously or at the same time.
That's absolutely amazing. If anyone who's ever used their computer and find it runs a little slow if you're asking it to do different jobs at the same time, I don't think these quantum computers would be slowed down by many big calculations or asking it to do different tasks at the same time. It would all be done simultaneously using these qubits. This capability could allow quantum computers to solve certain problems much faster than current computers. If we're talking about space research, satellite trajectories, things like that, a lot of big numbers to crunch there. So this capability, this ability to do something, if you have a capability, you have the skills, the necessary requirements to do something. It could be something simple. A key gives you the capability to open a lock, or many years of education would give you the capability to work as a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. So it gives you the ability, it gives you the tools and skills you need to do something. So this amazing computing capability would allow these quantum computers to do many big problems much faster than computers today.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Let's turn things over now to Hanny.
位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。首先看到标题里面有提到 technological evolution。 technological 是形容技术的、科技的， evolution 则是指演变、演进、发展或是演化。那么 evolution 是来自动词 evolve， 我们这边来补充它的字首字根。好，看到 V-O-L-V-E volve 这个字根，它表示 roll， 也就是有转动啊、滚动的语义。在 evolve 这个字当中，字首 e 是来自 ex， 表示向外，字根 volve 表示转动、改变。那我们可以用向外转动、慢慢扩展的那种意象去联想到 evolve， 它有演变、进化或是逐步发展的意思。我们顺便补充几个带有 volve 这个字根的单字。第一个是 involve， 它的字首 in 表示 into 进入， volve 表示转动、滚动。那滚动进来应该很容易联想到 involve， 它具有卷入的意思。 involve 可以表达使卷入、牵连或是包含。那第二个补充的是 revolve， 它的字首 re 有返回、再度的意思， volve 表示转动。那合在一起 revolve 它就有旋转、转动的意思，像 revolve around something 就可以表达围绕什么什么旋转。而它的名词 revolution 可以指旋转、天体的绕转运行，它其实还有革命、重大变革的意思。同学们也许就可以用翻转政局去联想到 revolution 有革命的意思。第三个补充的是 devolve， 它的字首 de 表示 down 向下， volve 表示转动、滚动。那这个字呢，就是 evolve 的相反词 devolve， 有退化的语义，也可以表达将什么来下放啊、转移、移交，像是把权力、职责等等下放。好，那么读到课文第二部分的第一句，他说我们每天使用的各种装置，像笔记型电脑和手机，已经包含了精密复杂的电脑。那这些电脑以位元形式储存讯息，每个位元代表一个一或一个零。文中是用 either a one or a zero 来表达一个一或一个零。那这边我们来复习一下 either A or B 的用法。Either A or B 表示不是 A 就是 B，A 或 B 两者当中的任何一个。那么 either 点点点 or 点点点就要去连接词性相同的字词。我们在连接主词的时候，动词是要配合最靠近的主词来做变化。我们来看两个例句。He is either unwilling or unable to help us。 他不是不愿意做，就是没办法帮助我们。那这边是连接两个形容词 unwilling 还有 unable。另一个例句是 Either you or Jamie has to fix the problem。 不是你就是 Jamie 得解决这个问题。那么例句里面的动词呢，就是配合最靠近的主词 Jamie， 所以后面是用 has to 而不是用 have to。 好，那以上今天重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Technological
Technological advances over the last few decades have significantly changed how we communicate.
Evolution.The evolution of Kate's career from waitress to restaurant owner has been slow but steady. Device. Zach relies on a small electronic device to keep track of his daily schedule and tasks. Sophisticated. The spy used sophisticated equipment to observe his targets without their knowledge. Multiple. The doctor will perform multiple experiments to test the new drug's effectiveness. Utilize.We should consider utilizing the library's resources for our science project. Analyze. Professor Reyes needs to analyze the data carefully before drawing any conclusions from it. Capability. The robot has the capability to learn from and adapt to new situations. Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Mike.
I am Roger. See you next time.